Good evening. Before we begin this evening, I'd like to remind everyone to please silence your cell phones and also remind you that the council meetings are live streamed and they are aired on the City of Casper's YouTube channel. I now would call the February 4th, 2025 regular council meeting to order. Please note that Councillor Sweeney is attending the meeting via virtual. All councillors are present. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please read the consent minute approval titles.
Approving the minutes of the February 4th, 2025 regular council meeting and the February 4th, 2025 executive session.
Thank you. The chair would entertain a motion to approve the consent minute action agenda items just read. Moved by Councillor Bond, seconded by Councillor Haskins. Any abstentions? Please cast your vote.
Did you ask Pat?
Pat, how do you vote? Excuse me, Councillor Sweeney, how do you vote?
I vote aye. Did that come through? I take it that didn't come through.
We got you, Pat.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Excuse me, Councillor Sweeney.
Thank you, Mayor.
I keep getting here. My apologies. We got you. Please record the vote.
With all councillors voting aye, the motion passes.
The chair would entertain a motion to approve by minute action the February 18th, 2025 general bills and claims as audited by by City Manager Napier. Moved by the Vice Mayor, seconded by Councillor Bond. Any abstentions? Please cast your vote. Councillor Sweeney, how do you vote?
Aye.
Please record the vote.
With all councillors voting aye, the motion passes.
The chair would entertain a motion to approve by minute action the February 18, 2025 conflict claims as audited by City Manager Napier. Moved by Councillor Pollock, seconded by Councillor Haskins. Any abstentions? Councillor Gamroth. Vice Mayor.
I wish to abstain.
Thank you, Councillor. Please cast your vote. How do you vote, Councillor Sweeney? Oh, you're abstaining.
I abstain.
My bad. It's in my script. I have to read it.
Okay, thank you.
Please record the vote.
With Vice Mayor McIntosh and Councillor Sweeney abstaining and all others voting aye, the motion passes.
Thank you. Oh, Councillor Gamroth too.
Oh, I'm sorry. With Councillor Gamroth, Councillor Sweeney, and Vice Mayor McIntosh abstaining and all others voting aye, the motion passes.
Thank you. Tonight, I would like to welcome the CEO, Jessica Baxter, and other staff members of the True Care Women's Resource Center to the meeting tonight, and I'd ask them to please come forward. Good evening. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. It's good to see you all. We're going to be reading a proclamation, and what I'll probably have you guys do is come up front here. I didn't know if you have anything you wanted to share with the council or anything like that.
Yeah, so at True Care, our goal is to serve women, men, and families who are experiencing an unplanned pregnancy. We do that through medical services. To my right is Sally Heyer. She's an RN as well as a registered diagnostic medical sonographer. We also employ 5 other RNs and a nurse midwife. In addition, This is Cheryl Flores. She is our resource coordinator. She provides women with over 100 different resources locally and regionally to help them in the event of an unplanned pregnancy. Next to her is Jennifer Titus, one of our longtime board members, and over here is Lily Zimmerman, our Director of Advancement. At TrueCare, we provide all of our services for free. We take no government funding. We're funded by the beautiful and generous community of Casper and Central Wyoming because we believe that no one should have to face an unplanned pregnancy alone, and we want them to have the support, the resources, the information that they need to make a choice and a decision for themselves. And so your commitment today and just your acknowledgement of these services just helps to solidify the great work that's happening here in Casper. Every year we serve between 250 to 300 women and their families. And over the course of our 38 years here in Casper, we have served thousands of families, thousands of women, men, families, and babies. So thank you today for allowing us to be here. Thank you for your acknowledgement.
Thank you. You guys want to come up up front here with me? So this is a proclamation for TrueCare. So I'm going to read it and then hand it out to you. Whereas the TrueCare Women's Resource Center has been providing prenatal services to our community for 37 years. Whereas TrueCare Women's Resource Center provides services and resources to support women and families during pregnancy. Whereas TrueCare Women's Resource Center provides a safe place to confidentially ask questions and to discuss concerns about pregnancy, and whereas TrueCare Women's Resource Center provides all their services at no cost to their parents. Whereas supplies and support provided by TrueCare Women's Resource Center, including pregnancy testing, ultrasound, education, informational tools, supplies for new and expecting parents, options for counseling and medical consultation. Now therefore, I, Ray Pacheco, Mayor of the City of Casper, Wyoming, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, February 18, 2025 as TrueCare Women's Resource Center Day in our community and encourage our citizens to join me in recognizing TrueCare Women's Resource Center and the work they do in supporting women's health in the City of Casper. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the official seal of the City of Casper, Wyoming to be affixed this 18th day of February 18, 2024. Thank you very much. Now is the time that we invite anyone in the audience who wishes to speak with our council to come forward. This portion of the meeting is dedicated to the public to allow them time to discuss matters of public interest and to voice their concerns. We ask that you please state your name, direct all questions and comments to the mayor. No personal obscenities or threats will be tolerated. Council will not respond to personnel matters. Those will all be directed towards our city manager. Councilors may ask clarifying questions, but if they choose to respond to any of the matters that come before us, they will be done during the scheduled council response time following communications from persons present. Presentations will be limited to 5 minutes and no time of extensions will be permitted. And please note that public hearings and ordinances have their own separate comment periods. Mr. Schriftman.
Mayor, good evening. My name is Ross Schriftman, resident of Casper. Adequate revenue is a key element of any municipality. And as you know, we're dealing with situations that may change some of the revenue that the city gets. One of the areas that I've been looking at is a potential for some revenue to the city that may not always be looked at and may be overlooked. A couple weeks ago, I contacted the city manager and got a list of properties that the city owns. And there's about 100 of them. many of them are key parts of what the city has to do. But I did an inventory, and I also looked at the assessments from the county for the current marketing value of some of these properties. I had a good meeting with the city manager, I guess about a week ago. We met, went over some of the information. I'm going to hand this out. I have some recommendations. There's some properties that may be able to be sold to private companies or individuals. I'm going to talk tonight just about 3 of them, and see if maybe council could have an agenda item on a work session to look at some of the opportunities there. The good news about that is if there are properties that are sold that the city owns, they're going to go from a tax exempt or a low tax rate to a potential commercial property rate. And that would generate some revenue. Also, some of the properties that maybe the city is managing, that would be a savings on the spending side. So I have a handout on that, if I can pass that along. And I think I sent the manager an email with it. One of the properties, just to give you an example, is the parking building that's on Walcott. It's estimated to be worth about $2 million. It's being managed by the city through contract with Republic, and Republic seems to be doing a good job, but other cities not necessarily run a parking lot. Another one, which is a gem in the community, is Hogadon. I looked at other ski areas. I looked at Hogadon and I compared it to other ski areas throughout the country, ones that are very popular and well-known, and other ones that maybe not as well-known, and ones in our region. The great thing about our ski area is it's right here, and people can go up. I met with Visit Casper to get some idea, and as far as are we a destination for skiers, and working to find that out. Here is a list of the 14 that I looked at. Here, this is a list that I want to hand out. Okay, of the 14 I looked at, only 2 are owned by a city. Ours and Winter Park, which is owned by Denver. Skiing is a very popular tourist opportunity for revenue for the city, but maybe that might be something that needs to be looked at. Another thing, while I was doing some research, I noticed that council looked at I think it was 2022, sponsorships like the Ford Event Center. And I like that idea. And in fact, I think the city might want to give a recognition for the biggest sponsorship and maybe renaming City Hall Taxpayer Memorial City Hall, because we pay all the taxes, and you guys too. So these are some of the ideas, and I would suggest maybe an item on a work session and look at this a little bit more, because between the state changes there, or maybe lower property taxes might mean some more sales tax because people have a little bit more to go out. And the federal government is looking at, obviously, a lot of the grants. So that's what I have for tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Schriftman. Anybody have any clarifying questions?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Good evening. It's good to see you.
Good evening. Good to see you folks too. Oh my goodness, that was really loud. Sorry.
It's pretty sensitive, so you're good. It's good to see you, Rebecca.
We have some handouts here. My name is Rebecca Reeves. I'm the executive director of the Iris Clubhouse. And we have just some new things going on at the clubhouse that we want to share with you tonight. And with me, I have Sally.
Hi, Sally.
Yeah.
What do you got? Josh.
Sally and Josh are with me tonight. I wanted to start by just thanking the city council and everything that you guys do. I think it's only right to give thanks to everyone here. We here at the clubhouse just want you to know that we stand in solidarity with what you all do all year long to make Casper a great place to live. And with that, I'm going to let Sally go ahead and share her story. And yeah.
Hi guys. When I came to the Iris Clubhouse in January 2023, I was homeless and on the verge of suicide. Since then, I have had no hospitalizations for the past 2 years being with the Iris Clubhouse. I have not just had one apartment, a one-bedroom apartment, but I now share a two-bedroom apartment with another member. I have participated in the transitional employment program, and I found that that wasn't for me, and I am now doing the supported education program that the Iris Clubhouse provides. I have found myself emotionally and personally in growth with the help of the colleagues at the Iris Clubhouse. The Iris Clubhouse has been a blessing for me, and it can be for many others suffering from mental health issues.
Thank you, Sally.
That was great. So yes, we're an accredited organization. We are a part of a global mental health movement that aims to lift people up who are living with mental illness and to get jobs and go back to school. And we have our programming up and running at the clubhouse, which is really amazing. One of our newest programs that I wanted to share with you guys tonight is our supported education program. We just launched a in-house college course, curriculum based. It's not accredited, so folks don't get actual credits for the course, though they might someday. But it's a pre-college course, so we can help prepare folks to take college courses in the fall and help them kind of go through some of those barriers that might come up, and then we can help support them along the way. So it's truly an amazing program, and our vision here in Casper, we're a part of a regional coalition called the Rocky Mountain Clubhouse Coalition, and we aim to spread these clubhouses all across our region. And we need the council's support for the sustainability of Iris Clubhouse. Specifically, your advocacy for funding and partnerships will help hundreds of individuals in Oconee County gain access to recovery, stability, and opportunities. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rebecca. Don't go after this. Don't leave yet, because there might be some council members that might want to make some comments. Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Thank you. Any clarifying questions for Rebecca and her team?
Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Rebecca, thanks for coming tonight. I'm sorry I'm not there. Could you explain, if you get any state money or Medicaid money currently in the process of that?
Thank you, Pat, Senator Sweeney, or not Senator.
Either one, Counselor
Sweeney, for that question. So right now, as it stands, we only receive funding through local foundations and grants. We are eligible to receive Medicaid funds. However, the barriers are high to receive them, specifically the DLA 20 assessment that is mandated by the state for our members to complete in order to qualify for clubhouse services. We're in the process of navigating how to have private therapists receive that training. Currently, the only therapists that are able to give this assessment are at CWCC, and that poses a barrier for many of our members to receive this assessment. And there's also a barrier for the scoring of the assessment is a little strict. So we're in the process of advocating for increasing access to Medicaid funding.
Does that help out, Counselor?
It does. Thank you, Mayor.
Anybody else? Okay. Talk to you guys in a second, okay? Any others who wish to address the council? Okay. So moving along, let's go ahead and go with any counselors that might have a brief to respond to any of the individuals that came up to speak during communication. So open it up. Vice Mayor.
I just want to say Rebecca does a fantastic job down there at the Irish Clubhouse. I had the privilege of helping out down there with the painting of the building. I gathered a bunch of people together and we came and spent an entire Saturday painting the outside of the building and doing cleanup around there. And I've helped her with a few other service projects down there. She does a fantastic job. It was great to work with them. And then Sally, thank you for your story. That's fantastic to see the work that goes on with the Irish Clubhouse. Great organization.
Councilor Gamera.
Thank you, Mayor. I would echo what the Vice Mayor just said. Huge fan of the organization. Thank you for coming to share your story. And you did great. So no reason to be nervous next time. I promise we're we're not that formal of a bunch. I wanted to respond to Mr. Schriftman. You had brought up a couple comments, mostly in regards to the sale of city property. Land is one of the 3 topics that we typically go into exec session for, and so I know you're a very conscientious person, and you probably haven't been privy to some of the conversations we've had along these lines. So I don't hold that against you at all, but I do have faith that our city staff are very open-minded and thinking out of the box about what to do to increase revenues. And you made a good point that properties on the city's docket do have some sense of liability and cost to them. And so again, in the pursuit of cost savings, those are absolutely recommendations that have come before us. The most recent example I can think of, and I'm sure you've been following the topic because you attend regularly, is the rezoning of Robertson Road and Trevette. The city owns a parcel of land there that has been appraised around $1 million, and we've had people bid on it and give us plans to develop it, but the community in that area has made it very clear that they have thoughts about how that should be developed, if it should be developed at all, which a lot of folks don't think it should be developed. And they believed very strongly against a commercial designation, even though it had been that several decades ago. And so, those are things that we have to try to strike the right balance. It would be great to increase revenues and to realize some cost savings by getting some of these properties off the city docket, but we have to find the right fit because, especially in the case of Robertson Road and Trevette, the citizens in that area have some very legit and justified rationale for not developing that land out, or the city even potentially keeping it and just not doing anything with it. And then in regards to Hogadon, again, I appreciate your diligence on that. Zulima, our Parks and Rec director, has brought us, anytime we talk about adjusting the rates at Hogadon, we always cost compare to the other ski areas in Wyoming, which I find the most relevant because Wyoming is just very unique. There's a lot of things that make it different from other states. So I always like to have in-state statistics and data to refer to. The national stuff does help provide some context, but the Wyoming stuff is the best stuff. And so we always get a really detailed cost comparison sheet with how Hogadon stacks up against all the other areas in Wyoming. It is very competitive and totally in market rates. So I'm comfortable with the rates that are set over there. One thing I would encourage you to keep in mind, because I've done hours of research on this as well, as far as whether Hogadon could be a candidate for sale to the private sector. It doesn't exist in a state or national park, which is a huge draw. All of the areas that are privately owned, from what I've been able to tell, they're in a state or national park, which has a whole tourism draw in of itself. I was unable to find any examples of a privately owned ski area not in a state or national park. There are nonprofit models, but even that, Sleeping Giant area in Wyoming is closed this past season. And I believe they tried doing it. That was either a private sale or a nonprofit. I can't remember, but those sorts of ownership agreements are very difficult and not necessarily easier than the city owning it itself. So I would be happy to talk with you offline. I would also be happy if you didn't catch those conversations where our Parks and Rec director has given us presentations on rates at Hogadon. I take really good notes, so I'd be happy to send you the video snippets or the memos where we discuss that in our meetings. And again, otherwise, would love to talk with you offline about some of these things because it's something I've given great deal of thought myself. Thank you.
Counselor Bond.
Mike?
Sorry about that. Just that one of the major needs in Casper, and one that council certainly has an eye on, is for housing, particularly affordable housing, not limited to rental property, but specifically for housing for seniors, and particularly affordable housing for both seniors and young families, in that affordable range of $300,000, or between the $300,000 and $400,000 range. So that, and Councilor's comments about the Robertson Road property was rezoned, and I think that's kind of our hope there, is that a developer will use that to develop affordable housing for buyers. And then I think the only other thing I would add too is that I just wanted to say thank you to the folks from Iris Clubhouse that came this evening and spoke. I don't know a lot about Iris Clubhouse. I'm learning over time. I've been kind of busy with other nonprofits in town, but would love to learn more about what you do. And everything I've heard has been very positive, and just want to say thank you for the contribution you make to this, to the community. And I guess the only other thing I did want to add to Mr. Schiffman too was not entirely facetiously, but as the council goes into our budget work between now and June, we may be in a cost cutting or expense cutting mode. And so I think that's unfortunately for some, but it's not always just about generating revenue, but we may be pressed into a situation where we're looking at cost cutting and reducing the city's budget. And knowing that there's some incredibly important safety and well-being things that are funded through the city budget. So, thank you.
Anybody else?
Mr.
Yeah.
Mayor?
1 second. Go ahead. Go ahead, Councilor Sweeney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So first off, congratulations in recognition to True Care. Mr. Mayor, there might be something we could do for those watching online. The camera does not lift when you've got them up behind there. So we got a great crotch shot of you, but unfortunately, but for those of us online, so, and certainly not to diminish the presentation tonight, but I thought I'd bring that up first under public comment. Secondly, if you have not visited Iris Clubhouse, so there are some misconceptions. There's no overnight stays. That's not part of the mission. But any counselors that haven't visited the clubhouse and would like a tour, I'm sure Rebecca would be glad for any of you to visit, come down for lunch. And it's a great program. And I think it was either 2018 or 2019, we got a bill passed to start the process. And it's this many years later, they still are not receiving. It'd be a small amount under the Medicaid reimbursement portion of the mental health part, but unfortunately still not totally online. Lastly, Mr. Schriftman's comment about Hogan. I think if you truly delved into the history, I moved here in 1979, and it's been an up and down battle for years. And if you have a buyer out there, Mr. Schriftman, bring them forward, and I hear on a local radio show that we should sell it. So if you or anybody has an idea on who might want to buy that, I see it as a livability issue. Obviously, it's only for some people, but it's one of the attractions. David Street Station, the river. Those are the kind of things that I think we also have to consider. And you're right. Maybe someday we'll have to shut it down because of lack of funds that the state legislature won't see passed. So, but that's all I've got. Thank you, Mayor. And no disrespect to True Cares, Mr. Mayor. And I just thought somebody ought to bring that up. So.
Thank you, Councilor. Appreciate that. Councilor Gamera.
Thank you, Mayor. I was actually just looking to correct the record. Councilor Bond, I think you mentioned affordable housing going at Robertson and Trevette, and I believe tonight we're approving a third reading for urban agriculture, which my understanding is would preclude that sort of development, correct? I'm just looking for clarification. I just wanted to make sure that the right information got out there.
Mr. Mayor, Councilor, the idea was that by offering the property with urban agriculture, it not only is consistent with what we see over there in the Robertson Road area, particularly across the street towards the river, but also gives a developer a more open canvas to consider a number of applications that, of course, would require a zoning change that would come in front of the council to approve. And so, depending on what council gets and what proposals come forward, that designation allows the dialogue to occur more fully.
Thank you. For further clarification, though, urban agriculture, I believe, as far as residential development is concerned, only allows conventional site-built single-family homes, right? Like the urban agriculture zoning designation does not allow multi-tenant or a dense residential like an R3 or R4 which we've discussed in the past, correct? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Before we move on, I just want to say really quickly to the Irish Clubhouse, I think we're in a time where mental health has become a critical part of what's going on in our communities, not only here in Casper, but our state and around the world and in the country. One of my social work students is sitting, she's doing her practicum there. We talked quite a bit about the work that they are doing at the Irish Clubhouse. We are at that watershed moment where mental health is a component of helping and supporting individuals that don't have access to mental health care. Mental health care has become wildly expensive. Individuals don't have health insurance to be able to pay for counseling. Counseling services are almost out of reach for many individuals. And so we wonder why. We are trying to figure out how we fix the issues that are happening in our communities, the killings, the things that are happening as far as mental health. And when we stop thinking about that, when we stop supporting organizations, when we start looking at them throughout and seeing them as human, knowing that they need help. This is something near and dear to my heart. And I say this, that we will continue to fight. to continue to support and advocate for organizations like the Irish Clubhouse. This is a moment for us as a community to stand together, especially now with the things that have happened. So God bless the work that you guys do, and we'll continue to advocate on your behalf as best we can. I now declare the public hearing open for the consideration of an ordinance approving a vacation and final plat, creating City of Casper Lot 5A Block 226 subdivision. Mr. City Attorney, do you have any exhibits?
Thank you, Mayor. I do. Exhibit number 1, correspondence from Liz Becker to J. Carter Napier, dated February 14th, 2025. Exhibit number 2, Casper Star Tribune affidavit of publication, dated January 30th, 2025.
Thank you. Mr. City Manager, do you have a report?
I do, Your Honor. Thank you. As the exhibit indicates, you notice that the lot in question extends out into Collins Drive. And so the motivation here would be to replat the property, designate the portion that is encroaching Collins Drive as road right-of-way, if you will, and then offer the remaining portion, which we believe will be roughly 5,000 or so square feet, for public sale, and see what we get by way of proposals to convert that property to private ownership.
Thank you. Council will now listen to public comment. These are limited to 5 minutes and no duplication of speakers will be allowed. At this time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in favor of the proposed ordinance to please approach the lectern. Those who wish to speak in favor. Okay, at this time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in opposition of the proposed ordinance to please approach the lectern. Those who wish to speak against. There being no one to speak for or against the proposed ordinance, I now declare the public hearing closed. Please read the ordinance by title only.
An ordinance approving a vacation and final plat to create the City of Casper Lot 5A Block 226 subdivision in the City of Casper, Wyoming.
Chair would entertain a motion to approve on the first reading the ordinance just read.
So moved.
Moved by Councilor Pollack, seconded by the Vice Mayor. Discussion. Any amendments? Please cast your vote. Councilor Sweeney, how do you vote?
Aye.
Please record the vote.
With all councilors voting aye, the motion passes.
I now declare the public hearing open for the consideration of a transfer of ownership for resort liquor license number 1. We'll wait for you, Councilor. Mr. City Attorney, do you have any exhibits?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do. Exhibit number 1, correspondence from Fleur Tremble to J. Carter Napier, dated February 7th, 2025. Exhibit number 2, liquor license transfer application filed January 21st, 2025. Exhibit number 3, affidavit of website publication as published on the City of Casper website, dated February 18th, 2025. Exhibit number 4, proof of publication as published in the Casper Star Tribune, February 6th and 13th, 2025.
Thank you. Mr. City Manager, do you have a report?
A brief one, Your Honor. With respect to the parties identified, a change in ownership has precipitated this transfer, which we understand will not affect the way that the business operates pending the approval.
Thank you. Council will now listen to public comment. Public hearing comments are limited to 5 minutes and no duplication of speakers will be allowed. At this time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in favor of the transfer of ownership resort license number 1, please approach the lectern. Those who wish to speak in favor. Okay, at this time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in opposition to the transfer of ownership to resort license number 1, please approach the lectern. Those who wish to speak in opposition. There being no one to speak for or against the transfer of ownership for resort license number 1, I now declare the public hearing closed. Please read the minute action item by title only.
Approving an application for transfer of ownership of resort liquor license number 1 from Peachtree Hospitalities Management LLC, doing business as Hilton Garden Inn, located at 1150 North Poplar, to Luxema Lodging LLC, doing business as Hilton Garden Inn, Casper, located at 1150 North Poplar.
Thank you. Chair would entertain a motion to approve the minute action item just read. Moved by the Vice Mayor, seconded by Councilor Haskins. Any discussion? Okay, please cast your vote. Councilor Sweeney, how do you vote?
Aye.
Please record the vote.
With Councilor Pollock abstaining and all others voting aye, the motion passes.
I now declare the public hearing open for the consideration of the annual renewal of liquor licenses. So, Mr. City Attorney, do you have an exhibit?
Thank you, Mayor. I do. Exhibit number 1, correspondence from Fleur Tremble to J. Carter Napier, dated January 22nd, 2025. Exhibit number 2, liquor license list. Exhibit number 3, affidavit of website publication, is published on the City of Casper website, dated February 18th, 2025. Exhibit number 4, proof of publication, is published in the Casper Star Tribune, February 4th and 11th, 2025.
Thank you. Mr. City Manager, do you have a report?
I do, Your Honor. This is the opportunity that council has to consider the renewal of the full complement of liquor licenses available for your oversight and distribution. As your memo indicates, there are a few stipulations that appear to have been honored with regard to this renewal, 2 of which are tied to the address that the business operates in, and 1 of which is tied to a bar on ownership, which is also being honored as near as we can tell. Typically, council would have concerns if any recommendations were given by staff that acknowledged a failure to pay sales taxes or other obligation to statute that is not being observed. And as near as we can tell, we do not have any of those concerns or qualifications that we would offer pursuant to your full approval of all of the licenses that you will receive.
Thank you. Council will now listen to public comment. Public hearing comments are limited to 5 minutes and no duplication of speakers be allowed. At this time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in favor of the annual renewal of liquor licenses to please approach the lectern. Those who wish to speak in favor. At this time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in opposition to the annual renewal of liquor licenses to please approach the lectern. Those who wish to speak against or in opposition. There being no one to speak for or against the annual renewal of liquor licenses, I now declare the public hearing closed. The chair would entertain a motion to, by minute action, authorize the annual renewal of all City of Casper liquor licenses for licensing period April 1, 2025 through March 31, 2026. Moved by Councilor Haskins, second by the Vice Mayor. Discussion. Any abstentions or nay votes? Please cast your vote. Councilor Sweeney, how do you vote?
Aye.
Please record the vote.
With Councilor Pollock abstaining and all others voting aye, the motion passes.
Welcome back. Please read the ordinance on third reading by title only.
Approving a zone change for the Robertson Road Addition subdivision in the City of Casper, Wyoming.
Thank you. The chair would entertain a motion to approve and adopt on third reading the ordinance just read. Moved by Councilor Jensen, seconded by Councilor Pollock. Council will now listen to public comment. Does anybody want to speak onto this? Okay, any discussion from the council? Amendments? Please cast your vote. Councilor Sweeney, how do you vote?
Aye.
don't think it did, Counselor. No. There you go. Please record the vote.
With all counselors voting aye, the motion passes.
Please read the ordinance on third reading by title only.
Approving an annexation, final plat, subdivision agreement, and zoning for the Patton Addition subdivision.
Thank you. The chair would entertain a motion to approve and adopt on third reading the ordinance just read. Moved by the Vice Mayor, seconded by Councilor Gamroth. Council will now listen to public comment. Does anybody wish to speak to this? Okay, any discussion from the council? Any amendments? Please cast your vote. Councilor Sweeney, how do you vote?
Aye.
Please record the vote.
With all counselors voting aye, the motion passes.
Please read the ordinance on third reading by title only.
Approving a vacation and final plat to create the Fort Casper Academy Edition Number 2 subdivision in the city of Casper, Wyoming, and approving the associated subdivision agreement.
Thank you. The chair would entertain a motion to approve and adopt on the third reading the ordinance just read. Moved by the Vice Mayor, seconded by Councilor Gamroth. Council will now listen to public comment. Does anybody wish to speak to this? Is any discussion by the council? Any amendments? Please cast your vote. Councilor Sweeney, how do you vote?
Aye.
Please record the vote.
With all counselors voting aye, the motion passes.
The council will now consider consent resolutions. Please read the consent resolutions by title only.
Item 8A1, authorizing execution of Amendment Number 1 to the Clean Water State Revolving Fund with the Office of State Lands and Investments for the purpose of the City of Casper North Platte Sanitary Sewer Rehabilitation Project. Item 8A2, authorizing an Arizona State Purchasing Cooperative Agreement between the State of Arizona Procurement Office and the City of Casper, Wyoming for the procurement of a transit bus. 8A3, authorizing change order number 3 to the agreement with Myers & Sons Construction LLC for the Sam H. Hobbs Wastewater Treatment Plant Secondary Treatment Rehabilitation Phase 2 project. Item 8A4, authorizing an agreement with 71 Construction Incorporated for the Parks Pedestrian Bridge Repairs Project. Item 8A5, authorizing amendment number 1 with Civil Engineering Professionals Incorporated as part of the redesign of landfill tree farm and Miller House fencing and irrigation system project. 8A6, authorizing a contract for professional services with Geosyntech Consultants Incorporated for the 2025 to 2030 closed balefill reporting project. 8A7, authorizing a contract for professional services with Edge Engineering Group LLC for the 2025 to 2030 closed balefill monitoring project. 8A8, authorizing a contract modification with Sampson Construction Company Incorporated for construction management services for the Casper Business Center demolition and asbestos abatement project. 8A9, terminating the contract for professional services between the City of Casper and Police Facility Design Group and authorizing a new agreement with Police Facility Design Group. 8A10, authorizing a memorandum of understanding between the City of Casper and the Firefighters Local Union 904 IAFF AFL-CIO. Item 8A11, authorizing payment of an invoice from ITC Electrical Technologies for emergency work to procure and install critical components that failed at the Sam H. Hobbs Wastewater Treatment Plant. 8A12, authorizing ground lessor estoppel and consent to assignment of lease agreement between the City of Casper and AAC Casper Owner LLC. 8A13, authorizing a grant award agreement between the Wyoming Office of Homeland Security and the City of Casper in the amount of $107,442. And 8A14, authorizing a grant award agreement between the Wyoming Office of Homeland Security and the City of Casper in the amount of $20,833.
Thank you. The chair would entertain a motion to adopt the consent agenda items just read.
Second.
Moved by Councillor Bond, seconded by Councillor Pollock. Mr. City Manager, would you like to comment on any of these items?
I do not have any comment, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Any abstentions? Please cast your vote. Councillor Sweeney, how do you vote?
Aye.
You said aye. Please record the vote.
With all councilors voting aye, the motion passes.
Please read the consent minute action titles.
9A1, authorizing the appointment of Patrick Sweeney and Jenna Jensen to the Natrona County Travel and Tourism Council for 3-year terms ending on June 30th, 2027. And 9A2, approving the sole source purchase of a MX908 handheld mass spectrometer from 908 Devices LLC, utilizing SHSP grant funds.
Thank you. The chair would entertain a motion to approve the consent minute action items just read. Moved by the Vice Mayor, seconded by Councillor Haskins. Any abstentions?
I would assume I
So-
will abstain
Abstentions noted from.
for 9A1.
Okay. Councillor
I
Sweeney,
vote-
you said you were abstaining too from 9A1.
Yes, please.
Any others? Okay, please cast your vote. How do you vote, Councillor Sweeney?
On 9A2, I vote yes.
Thank you. Please record the vote.
With councilors Sweeney and Jensen's abstentions noted and all others voting aye, the motion passes.
Thank you. At this time, we ask the councilors to bring forward any relevant concerns or items of interest to talk about. We'll start with Councillor Jensen. You want me to start over here now? Okay, Councillor Haskins.
Gee, thanks. So we had our first opioid epidemic committee meeting. We are looking for a 5th member in the community, so it sounds like we'll start interviewing the beginning of March for that. Our liaison with the municipal court had to be rescheduled due to illness. I have public health on Thursday and then a youth ordinance committee meeting next week. So I'll have more next week, but not a whole lot this time.
Thank you. Councillor Sweeney, do you have anything you'd like to update us on?
I attended regional water via virtually, and again, just want us to be nimble and ready if there's no backfill dollars on property tax. And I don't want to put false notion in residents' heads, but if you look at different articles that I've seen from the mayor of Upton, the mayor of Rock Springs, and there's a few others, the damage it could possibly cause on no backfill. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Gamroth.
Thank you, Mayor. I had the pleasure of serving lunch at Central Wyoming Rescue Mission last Friday, along with Councillor Bond, and our city attorney was there, our chief of police was there, our Chief Black was there from the fire department. We were well represented. Liz Becker were there. I'm sure I'm forgetting people, but we were very well represented with city staff. So I appreciate everyone for being there. The food was great. Brad and his crew put us to work, and it was good to be able to sit down with those folks that are having, going through that experience and hearing their stories and soliciting their input and feedback on what sort of things they would need to get back on the path of self-sufficiency and getting housed again and stuff. So very thankful for the opportunity. I hope they extend the invite again. I enjoyed myself. I had my first Economic Development Joint Powers Board meeting this morning. We discussed plans of a new manufacturer coming to town. I don't want to get ahead of them because I don't think they've made any sort of announcement, but it's a pretty exciting project. And my understanding is they'll be presenting to some local Rotary clubs and stuff soon. So I imagine word will get out soon. I believe our contract with Advanced Casper is coming up. So that's something that we'll be deliberating and discussing during our budget creation process. We talked about some other things like current utilization of our foreign trade zone and the efforts being made to expand the scope of that. And then lastly, I just have the Platte River Commons Master Plan, which is the master plan being developed for the area around Three Crowns Golf Course, the brownfield area over there. The Joint Powers Board today, approved their contribution towards the project. There's many people pitching in to create that master plan. And so the first open house is tomorrow night, 4:30 to 6:30 at City Hall. I hope there's a good showing and folks turn out to give us their input on what they'd like to see happen over in that area. That's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilor Jensen.
Well, last week I was in Cheyenne for the better part of the week from Tuesday on, doing Leadership Wyoming. So we visited with Supreme Court judges and Governor Gordon's staff, Rennie. I mean, we had a great time, met with a lot of them and sat in on the Supreme Court, or like a luncheon with the Supreme Court, did mock trial kind of thing with them. And then it was just like sat in on the House and on the Senate side, so watching and learning and witnessing, I guess, some things that have happened. So it was just a great experience to be down there and then, be able to meet the individuals that we did. Short of that, I was just thinking I've had a chance to, with the passing of Landers Mayor, just wanted to pay tribute to him and his contributions to everything. Wham, and meeting him, he was a great guy. So just wanted to do a shout out to the family, and I know Carter's worked with them too. So anyways, that's it. That's all I got.
Councilor Bond.
Mike.
Sorry, Councilor Sweeney, I'm sorry. No, I was not advocating for multiple family housing units to go into that property. However, when I was thinking of that, I think of those young families who just want to purchase a home, a starter home, and seniors who can afford a home but don't want to spend $500,000, $600,000 for it. So that's what I was thinking of. So anyway, I don't think that land's been platted yet. Is that correct, Carter? I mean, I know there's lots, but I don't know that, is that a final plat or?
Mr. Mayor, Council, you're correct.
Yeah, okay. So the developer could plat that, okay. But I wonder in my mind about what that will look like. So I did, as Councilor Haskin said, our court liaison meeting was rescheduled, or will be rescheduled, hasn't yet been done, so we should have, after that it gets rescheduled. I did attend the Youth Mental Health Coalition meeting today. We did look at the feedback a little more deeply from the youth. There was a focus meeting held with a group of young people from high school age, I think primarily high school and junior high age youth from Casper, and kind of listening to about what challenges they're facing. And the facilitators were able to kind of distill that to kind of 5 or 6 general categories of feeling that that one of the issues youth face in our community is distrust and disrespect from adults, peer pressure, bullying and safety, mental health and emotional well-being, gender and sexual identity issues, lack of safe spaces and activities. I think the trust, I don't know if they mentioned that when they were here at council, I don't remember. So anyway, the work today of the coalition was to prioritize what is one of those challenges that the coalition feels like we could tackle with some expectation for success to make an impact, which I reiterated to the coalition again today, that I think my sense among council members is that that's kind of one of the things we're looking toward, is to see that genuine impact on the mental health and well-being of youth in general, and particularly with the proliferation of violence and suicide has just been perennial, but that spike in violence between youth. So the priority that the coalition chose was lack of safe spaces and activities, and so we'll begin researching that and working toward that and see what impact we can make there. The next, as Councilor Gamera said, I did attend the rescue mission lunch. My hat is off to anyone who cooks and works over a stove all day. I did it for about an hour and a half, and I was toasted, literally. I was toasting buns and cooking burgers, so my hat's off. And then my apologies to those who, it wasn't maybe as pretty as we would like. The presentation wasn't everything, but it was delicious and nutritious. So, and last of all, I just wanted to say thank you to the staff for the hard work they put in, and also the city council members for the strategic planning session we held last week, beginning that conversation around priority-based budgeting and really connecting our budget, our city budget, with the priorities, the council's priorities for the city, for what happens in the city. So I think that's all I have. Thank you.
I don't have anything.
Thank you. Councillor Pollack.
Thank you. I had regional water today. Only thing I would add to Pat's report is that we spent a good part of the meeting going over an investment policy for that group. We did assign, we're going to select a subcommittee to manage those investments on behalf of that Joint Powers Board. Thanks to Jill for helping us with that and that decision. I have Metro tomorrow. I am newly appointed to Parks and Rec, and I wasn't able to get my schedule accommodating for that this month. So going forward, though, I will be able to provide a report with that group. And I do have MPO and LGBTQ advisory this week as well. So next week I'll have 3 other reports for you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As Councilor Gamera said, we had our Economic Development Joint Powers Board this morning. It was my first meeting as well. We started out with Kim Coyle from the CNFR, brought us donuts. That was nice of her. And then she spoke to us about it's going to be the 15th through the 21st this year, so a little later. They're meeting with the sports ranch up there to kind of coordinate some of the trade show over into the sports ranch, as well as some education type stuff, maybe have some of the participants teach some roping and that kind of stuff. So that'll be great to see the CNFR coordinate with the sports ranch as well. She said that it continues to grow. Saturdays are sold out. They're hoping to sell out Friday night as well this time around. So we will see. And we have that contract through 2026. So next year we'll probably see the contract working on the getting the CNFR back. We love to have them in the city. It's a fantastic event. And I had something else, but my white hair made me forget. But that's it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Just a couple announcements that I have. First, this Thursday I do have a Council of Governments breakfast, which will be at Eggington's, 7 a.m. The Vice Mayor and I will be there with the other mayors and the County Commission to be able to do that as well. I do have a swearing in for some police officers on Monday morning, so I'm looking forward to doing that. As always, it's one of my favorite things to do. I did send a note on behalf of the city and City of Council to the City of Lander on behalf to wish our condolences to the Mayor of Lander, who just recently passed away. He was a wonderful man. He was loved by Lander, so he was a good man. So I do want to let everybody know that there's a possibility that I will probably be writing a letter in support of our local communities. With the property tax cut that is looming, depending upon what ends up happening, it is a possibility that we need to look at how that's going to affect our communities, specifically the smaller communities. I see our fire department is here, many of them, and it's not unheard that it could affect services like the fire department and other places. I think that's a reality. I think it's one thing to say we can cut taxes, but there are ramifications to that. And I think we need to stand in solidarity with the other communities, particularly the smaller communities that don't have the reserves like bigger cities like we do. And so I will probably be pinning a letter in support with the other municipalities coming shortly. So I think we need to take a hard stand to say this is not good for local communities. The notice of an executive session to take place at this date and during this meeting was given. We have personnel matters to discuss. The chair would entertain a motion to adjourn into an executive session at the conclusion of that executive session to reconvene this regular meeting solely for purposes of adjournment for this regular meeting. Moved by Vice Mayor and seconded by Councilor Pollock. There being a majority of councilors present and a motion to adjourn into an executive session has been moved and seconded. This motion requires a 2/3 majority of the council present. Please cast your vote. Councilor Sweeney, how do you vote?
I did get the invite. So.
Perfect. We'll see you in a little bit. Please record the vote.
With all councilors voting aye, the motion passes.
A greater than 2/3 majority of the council present voted in favor of the motion. We are hereby adjourned into an executive session. Stay warm, everybody. Stay safe. Take care of each other. Thank you.